So welcome guys, we're going to be doing the upgrade for the CowCow enhanced nozzle for the AAP01c, and yeah, so this is going to be a sort of upgrade video, just going to take you along for the ride while I do this. So first of all, what we're going to be doing is obviously disassembling the pistol as much as we need. So I'm obviously taking my flashlight off the bottom, using a 2mm screw for this, as we're going to be wanting access to the upper receiver throughout. So obviously coming off quite easy. Just going to sort of get that off, put that to one side just so we don't lose it. And then obviously using the button at the back, we are going to pop the top receiver off. It is quite a stiff fit, so yeah, it does sort of require a little bit of sort of help, and then flicking it off from the front of the lower receiver, a little bit of a wiggle for it to come off. Putting the lower receiver to one side, so we don't need that for the upgrade today. Working on the upper receiver now. It could be different through whatever site you guys have. So first of all, obviously taking the rear screws off, we're going to be taking the rear mounted sight off the pistol itself. And obviously again, like I said, with if you guys run different sites and all stuff like that, we need access to the bolt. So taking the screws out, the screws at the back are normally standard throughout the AAP and AAP01c, which is obviously what I have here for you. As soon as you take the rear mounted sight off, you are able to get access to the bolt. So we're just going to pop that to one side just while I do that. And then removing the bolt from the upper receiver comes out nice and easy once you've taken the screws out. And this is the part we're going to be working on today in the video. So popping the upper receiver to one side just while we do this. Obviously I have lubed the receiver, the bolt from a previous build, so this is the part we are obviously going to be taking out. So that is the standard nozzle on the AAP, and these screws are essentially the part that it's holding in is spring loaded, so you do want to be careful when you do take that off that it doesn't fly off anywhere. It is a little bit of a sort of finger gymnastics thing. Obviously you can see how I'm holding it, that there is quite a bit of grease on there, so you know, you may want to just take a little bit of the grease off if you would like. And then so we're going to get the screws off, nothing too tight, obviously we don't want to be stripping screw heads or anything like that. So everything with the AAP Action Army, you know, we don't want to be stripping screws or anything. So once we've got this bit off, we are obviously going to then get access to the nozzle. So nice and carefully, again, just popping that to one side. You can see the recoil spring that we have on here. That's the Waldo's customs dynamics. I don't know what he is at the minute, but yeah. So then pulling the nozzle that we're going to replace out. We don't need to take any parts out of this, as the CowCow enhanced nozzle set comes with everything that we're going to need. And yeah, so now obviously getting the new part comes with everything that we need. So the piston head, the nozzle itself, the part that sits inside the nozzle, don't actually know what you would call it, but yeah, sits inside the nozzle with the spring, and then the pin to hold it all together. So yeah, we are going to take the piston head out from the previous nozzle. What I do like to do is keep everything together that is sort of the standard. So I'm going to keep the standard nozzle and standard piston head together in a bag, just in case I have to sort of go backwards from the upgrade, sort of go for a downgrade if this does cause me problems, but I've never had any issues with anything. So following getting that just to one side, just keeping it nice and safe, we're going to obviously get the bits out that we're going to be using. So with this, it is a sort of relatively easy upgrade that you can do. I'm just sort of talking you through how it can be done and stuff like that. So yeah, we've got the plastic nozzle, a little bit of a sort of better finish than the standard AAP, a little bit of a sort of more machined plastic almost with this, and then obviously the other parts when they'll come out. So the pin, and then the, I don't know what you would call the middle bit, somebody put in the comments, I don't really know, the piston head, and then yeah, the bit in the middle and the spring. So building these parts now, so we're going to get the spring and pop it into the nozzle. So there is no way that the spring goes in, there's no special way that the spring goes in, it just drop in to the center. You can see pretty much down the center of the nozzle is quite a difficult one to see, but yeah, we're just going to drop that in and sort of give it a bit of a shake to get it into the right position. Yeah, so you can see that has dropped in quite nice. Then with the bit in the middle, it's a very untechnical part. You can see that it's just got a flat bit on the top. What we're going to do is pop the flat bit to the flat bit of the plastic, of the nozzle, sorry. I'm literally dropping everything today. So yeah, we're going to pop this in, and essentially it does only go in one way. So, you know, you can either get it in and then shake it around, or, you know, do it a bit of a sort of more delicate way, but I'm not very delicate. So with your screwdriver, you can obviously then just flick it into the right position. And yeah, so you can see there's a little bit of sort of springiness to it. And then the holes do match up on the bottom, obviously where the air is coming through. So yeah, we are obviously going to pop this into there, and then the pin, there is no way you do need to put it in. One of the end is knurled, this end just here, and then there is a smooth end. What I would recommend is popping the smooth end in first. It is a little bit of a tight squeeze, so you're just going to push it as far as you can, start off with your finger, and then we're obviously just going to try and push it as far as we can. You are probably going to need to push down on the button inside just to get it going as far as you can. It is a little bit of a tight squeeze, but as long as it's flush on both sides and it's not sticking out, you may need to do a little bit of sort of hammering or jigging just to get it in to situ. So we'll just do that now just to get it into situ where we need to get it. So got that in. It is quite a tight squeeze, but it's now flush on both sides, and there's a little bit of sort of play in the center, which is good, what we want. Then the piston head, essentially what we're going to do with this is we are going to get our lube and lube up the piston head that we're going to pop in. I use Gunslav lube. It is paintball lubrication, but it is 100% silicone. It's quite a thick lubricant. I've never had any problems with it, so we're going to lube the inside of the piston head, and then obviously once we get that in, we are then going to just lube as much as we can. It does only go in one way. There is two sort of notches, and again you can sort of match up how it sort of sits, so you can see there's a flat section. So again, we try and get this in as best as we can. Me being delicate as a rhino, it just doesn't work. So yeah, it does take a couple of tries. I was going to say the magic of editing would help me here, but hey ho, let's carry on. Yeah, so we're going to push that in as much as we can, and then yeah, it does sit quite flush. Getting some lube now onto the inner sections, as much lube as sort of we would think it would be best. And then yeah, so with the inside of the nozzle, we're going to pop a little bit of lubrication inside there as well. Sort of pop it in the centre and then rub it around with your finger. Just give it in all the nook and crannies. Yeah, so we're going to obviously get that into there. Just moving it around with your finger. And then once we've done that, we are obviously then going to get some lube down the side of the rails, just where the nozzle is going to be moving inside the bolt. We just want to get a bit of lubrication and stuff in there. Again, not using too much. You don't want to douse it in too much grease or anything like that. Please don't use like WD-40 or anything like that on your airsoft guns. It's always best to be silicone oil or silicone lubrication. You know, you don't want to be using anything oil based. Definitely not. So don't be using any of your, I suppose you could use Durex stuff, but hey ho, I'll leave that up to you. So yeah, once we've had a little play around with this, now my fingers are covered in lube. We're going to now pop this down into the bolt, so it does fit nice and snug, which is quite good. And then what we're going to do is we're going to start rebuilding the gun itself in a minute. We are obviously getting our lube in as best as we need. Once we've got it in everywhere we have to get it, we're then going to start to pop everything back together into the bolt itself. So the spring, the recoil spring for the nozzle, the nozzle spring, apologies. Again, with tightening everything on the AAP, we don't need to go hell for leather. You know, we don't want to be, again, stripping screw heads or, you know, stripping anything down inside. You know, we just want to be nice and sort of finger tight. Once one of the screws catches, then you can actually get both screws in, just while you're sort of trying to hold onto the slippy sucker that is the bolt when you've lubed it up too much. So yeah, once we've obviously tightened these in, we are then going to pop the bolt back into the upper receiver. The bolt is the CTM advanced bolt, a little bit of an upgrade again. I did it more for aesthetics because I do just like how it is, like it is sort of very cut out. Essentially with the bolt, you can just make sure that everything is working as you need it to be. We're going to get some more sort of lube just on the outside of the bolt while I took this apart. You know, just like intermittent maintenance to keep your gas blowbacks up to a good sort of level. You don't want anything breaking mid-game, that's not ideal. So yeah, we'll just get some lube down the side of the rails, and then obviously into the moving parts. So yeah, moving on to the upper receiver, that we're going to pop it back in. So with the bolt, obviously it's then just push straight through the back of the bolt. So we're going to get that back in situ where it needs to be. So it should be a nice sort of click in. And then once we have that in, we are going to then lube up a little bit more sort of the places that we think the contact is going to make with the gun. You can see I've got quite a bit of lube in my fingers and I don't have any tissue to get rid of it, so this is going to be fun. So coming back to our rear mounted sight, getting our 2mm hex key to sight. So it's a good one. So again, just finger tight, nothing too crazy, too mental. It does look like I was just torquing it really tight there, but it's actually because I'm just losing grip on the screwdriver, which obviously is a little bit difficult to hold on to. Once we've got those screws in place, we're obviously then going to get our sight back on. This is going to be different for, again, this is going to be different for what you got running on the back. You know, the standard 2 screws is normal, but then obviously if you are running like a small sight on the back, you are just then going to have to get those in to whatever your sort of normal would be. Again, this is just a quick video showing you how to install the nozzle. So again, a little bit more sort of lube in the places that you think you know, you sort of need. So anything that's moving, which is pretty much the bolt and the nozzle, you know, we don't want to be going over too much. I know people say you shouldn't lube up too much, and you know, but you just don't want to be going in dry. So yeah, we're just going to get as best as possible we can, and then we'll get our lower receiver. I am going to chrono this as well, just to make sure that it is firing and everything. Obviously, if anything is wrong, yeah, well, we'll obviously change it. So yeah, this is the AAP01c with the CowCow plastic nozzle. I hope you've enjoyed it, guys, and subscribe for more.